All right, let's talk about a fascinating mental glitch, a kind of hidden force that's secretly pulling the strings on your decisions every single day. We're talking everything from what you buy to how you manage your money. To really get it, I want to try a little thought experiment with you. Okay, here we go. Option A, I hand you a guaranteed $500, no strings attached. Option B, we flip a coin. Heads, you get $1,000. Tails, you get nothing. So what's it going to be? Go ahead, pick one. Now, if you're like most people, you probably took the guaranteed $500, right? It's a sure thing. It feels safe, smart. Okay, just remember what you picked. Now let's completely flip the script. This time you're starting in the hole. Option A, you have to accept a guaranteed loss of $500. Or option B, you can gamble. Same coin flip, a 50% chance you lose $1,000, but a 50% chance you lose nothing at all. What's your move now? Well, this is where it gets really interesting. Most people suddenly switch gears and choose B, the gamble. They'd rather risk a huge loss just for the chance to avoid any loss. So, what just happened? What we just saw is a total 180 in our behavior. When we're looking at games, we play it safe, we avoid risk. But the second we're faced with losses, we suddenly become these high-stakes gamblers. And the craziest part? Mathematically, the expected outcome in both scenarios is exactly the same. So why do we completely contradict ourselves like that? Well, the answer lies in a really powerful psychological bias. It's called loss aversion. This is a massive idea from something called prospect theory, which was developed by these two brilliant psychologists, Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky, way back in 1979. What they figured out is that we don't think about things in absolute terms. No, it's all relative to our starting point. And here's the real kicker. The pain of losing something hurts us way, way more than the pleasure of gaining that exact same thing feels good. And this chart shows you exactly what I mean. Just look at that imbalance. Gaining $100 might give you, let's say, 1 unit of positive feeling. But losing that same $100, that hits you with 2 units of negative feeling. This psychological sting is literally about twice as powerful as the joy of the gain. That feeling is incredibly potent. It really all boils down to this one simple phrase. Losses sting harder than gains feel good. It's just baked into how our brains are wired. But listen, this isn't just some dusty old academic theory. Oh no, this is a force that is actively used to influence your decisions out in the real world every single day. That's right. People in marketing, in medicine, even in politics, they understand this bias inside and out, and they know that they can nudge your decisions one way or another just by framing the information, by choosing to present it as either a potential gain or a potential loss. For example, let's say you're at the doctor's. If they say a procedure has a 90% survival rate, well, that sounds pretty good. That's a gain frame. But what if they say it has a 10% mortality rate? Whoa. Same exact information, right? But that word, mortality, it triggers our loss aversion, and it makes people far, far less likely to agree to the procedure. You see this at the gas station constantly. A sign that offers a $5 discount for cash is framing it as a gain. It feels nice. But a sign that lists a $5 surcharge for credit, that feels like a penalty. It feels like they're taking money away from you. It's framed as a loss. And even though the final price is the same, guess which one is way more effective at getting you to pay with cash? The surcharge. Every single time. We will work harder to avoid a loss than to achieve a gain. Now, this deep-seated fear of loss leads to another super weird consequence. It's called the endowment effect. And basically, it means that the moment you own something, your brain automatically decides it's more valuable than it was a second before. There's a classic experiment that shows this perfectly. So they bring in 2 groups of people. They give everyone in Group A a free coffee mug. Group B gets nothing. Then they ask the people in Group A, how much would you sell your mug for? And they ask Group B, how much would you be willing to pay for one of those mugs? The result is just wild. The owners, Group A, demand about twice as much money as Group B is willing to pay. Why? Because for the owners, giving up that mug isn't just a transaction anymore. It's now framed in their minds as a loss. And this is where this bias can get incredibly expensive, especially in the world of finance. It leads to something called the disposition effect. What happens is, investors will cling to their losing stocks for way, way too long, just refusing to sell. Because selling would make that loss feel real. And that pain is something we desperately want to avoid. And at the same time, they'll rush to sell their winning stocks way too soon, just to lock in the pleasure of that guaranteed gain. It's the exact opposite of what a rational investment strategy would tell you to do. So, if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's that we're not the logical, rational calculators we like to think we are. Our decisions aren't really about the absolute final outcome. Instead, they are powerfully driven by the feeling of a gain or a loss, all measured from our starting point. It's that emotional push and pull that's really steering the ship, often in ways that defy all logic. So now that you know about this hidden force, the real question is, where are you going to see it next? Because I promise you, now that you're looking for it, you'll see it everywhere, in a sales pitch, a news headline, or maybe even in your own hesitation to make a change. And you know what? Just being aware that it exists, that's the first and most powerful step toward making smarter choices.